Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself to our folks?
Okay. My name is Tegerdine. I'm running for U.S. Congress in the 4th District of Mississippi. That's the Southeast District. I'm going to challenge a Blue Dog Democrat. I'm a businessman, family man, not a career in politics. Got involved with the Tea Parties, and have actually been endorsed by two of the largest groups in our district, in Hattiesburg and then down on the Gulf Coast. But I have a business background. I do business development. I've got a law degree, but really got involved into politics because we've got a problem in the U.S. that regular people need to fix, not career politicians.
Okay, how do you feel about taxes?
Taxes. You know, taxes, well, that's one of the things that's keeping this economy from growing, and it's one of the things that are becoming a increasing concern for people who are just not having enough money at the end of the day to spend on basic needs and to improve our standard of living. I'm a huge proponent of the fair tax. I believe that if we want to be economically prosperous, we've got to get rid of our current income tax code. It's too large, too hard to interpret, and it's enriching special interests and our career politicians that control it. But a fair tax, national flat consumption tax is the way to go.
Okay, your district would include Biloxi and Bay St. Louis, is that correct?
Correct.
So tell us what your position on our military is.
I believe, number one, we have to have an America First policy in all our dealings with foreign policy. And our military, you know, we've got the best trained, the best equipped military in the world, and we need to maintain that. We've got to make sure that we take care of those that are sacrificing their lives to protect our freedoms and to protect American interests. And so strong national defense is something that I'm completely committed to. I think it's one way that we maintain a prosperous America.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you some questions about the Obama administration and what the Obama agenda. Okay. Because this help people decide whether they want to vote for you or not vote for you based on what's going on the national level. Okay. Would you support nationalization of the internet? Why or why not?
Not at all. Not at all. And I'm very encouraged with the ruling that came out this past week with the panel of the D.C. Court of Appeals that struck down the net neutrality rules that the FCC was trying to force onto our broadband network service providers. Very big win for the Constitution, because basically it's told the FCC they can't regulate that, and it's going to make it harder for them to have a national broadband rollout, which they're trying to do. But we do not want our federal government to control internet infrastructure. It's not good policy. It would cost the taxpayers billions of dollars, and it's an area where private companies have been extremely successful. You look at how broadband has rolled out through the U.S. Yes, there's some underserved areas, but it's catching up. Because as long as there's a demand, then the private industry is going to fill that so that they can make a profit. But I think very glad that the court got the vote right.
How do you feel about the stimulus spending?
Stimulus spending, obviously it hasn't worked. Obviously I think it's common sense to realize that when you're already in horrible amounts of debt, you can't spend more money than you don't have to get out of debt. And I think if we look at by the end of this year we're going to be close to $14 trillion in debt. Just what we'll be paying on interest on that debt is an enormous part of the national budget. We cannot continue to spend and be prosperous. We've got to have a balanced budget amendment to our Constitution. I fully support pushing through a balanced budget amendment. It's the only way to stop the spending.
Okay, what do you think about the national deficit? How the national deficit, federal deficit, and national debt, and what would you propose we do to solve it?
Well, first of all, if you look at the budget report of the United States, for years, that report published by the U.S. Department of Treasury says we're on an unsustainable fiscal path. We've been saying it ever since the early 90s. We're on an unsustainable fiscal path. We must reform our entitlement programs. With that in mind, like I said earlier, balanced budget amendment I think is the first step. We have to put the cuffs on Congress so they cannot continue to overspend. We have to go through our federal government and cut unnecessary programs. We have to make cuts. And I'm not afraid of saying it. A lot of career politicians won't make that statement. But we've got a Congress just a few months ago, 624 duplicate programs that would save America $20 billion a year, and they voted no for that amendment. So you have 624 programs doing the exact same thing, and they can't cut it or combine it to one thing. So all of that waste and all of that big government, we have to start slashing. It's the only way that we're going to maintain prosperous. And if we keep borrowing from foreign countries, we're basically selling our children, our grandchildren's future down the river.
Okay, your district includes NASA. You have the Stennis NASA base, and NASA, I assume, is very important to your district.
Yes.
But President Obama, on the other hand, is talking about cutting funds to NASA. Why shouldn't we cut funds to NASA?
Well, and I won't pretend to be an expert in the Constellation program and all of the functions that they perform at Stennis, but I do know that there's already been billions and billions of dollars invested in building up this program for space exploration, and it's to move away from that now before they finish the work they've done or continue to develop that work. It's basically it's flushing. I mean, it's almost like developing a brand new car, and you're out to that point where you're going to put on the paint and finish the inside, and now you decide to scrap the program. I mean, it's just not smart. It's not a responsible use of the taxpayer dollars. And really, to move to the focus that Obama, number one, he hasn't clearly defined what he wants NASA, their focus to be, but it's on some of this climate research and some of these this questionable global warming research instead of doing what NASA does best, and that's studying space exploration and all the advancements that these programs provide to the private industry and engineering and technical and rocket scientists, propulsion, all of these things. I mean, you look at how many benefits we have in society around the world due to our space program. It's not smart to cut it, and it's a constitutionally based program. If you look at the Constitution, says one of the things that we should invest in as a government is to promote the arts and the sciences. NASA is promoting the sciences.